So hi, I want to introduce you to Chick Chats, and this is a wonderful veteran that I just met. Meet Bob Sanders. Saunders. And you've served during 1958 and 59 in the Army.
I was a specialist fourth class when I got out of the service. I was my MOS was 635, I think, .2. It was a senior automotive repair,
Cool.
non-track. And I had gotten married. It was interesting. Just 5 weeks before I shipped out.
But you knew her before.
Yeah, I knew her before.
Did you grow up with her?
Oh, no, she's from Wyoming. And I met her in San Jose, where I was from, where I was raised since I was 10.
And this is in California, for those that don't know.
And so, what I didn't know is that I left her pregnant. She knew it, but I didn't.
Aww.
So, when I got back, I was a man with a wife and a 3-month-old baby, and I'm going, now what do I do? Well, I went back to what I'd always done. I was a muffler man.
Yeah.
I owned my own business later for 45 years, and I still work at it for the guy I sold the business to.
Really?
But anyway, I spent my basic at Fort Ord, spent the summer at Camp Roberts, and anybody that knows Heat knows Camp Roberts is a hellhole.
Yeah, a hellhole. That
we used to call Fort Ord Pneumonia by the Sea, because in my company, one whole platoon got recycled because of sickness, and 3 guys died from pneumonia.
No, I believe it.
I mean, because we called him Captain Midnight. He was a black captain that was a jumper. And everybody was trucked to the firing range, and we weren't trucked anywhere. Finally, the base command, somebody turned him in, and we were doing...
You mean he was doing this to your company individually?
No, this was just our company. Everybody else, the company next to us, got
all these privileges
taken with the... they were actually like diesel, fifth-wheel tractors, and they had some benches in them, and they'd run them out, you know.
Right.
Well, we were in the middle of a bivouac doing maneuvers with our rifle.
Yeah.
And we were in troughs. It was pouring down rain, and we were in these troughs going through, and the base commander came out and stopped it. Told him he would have trucks to send back to the base, back to our barracks. He would fall us out in fatigues, and when we get wet, he'd have us fall in, put our fatigue jackets on, and he'd fall back out again. So everybody was coughing and freezing, and
And this is in training?
Yeah, this is basic training.
Yeah.
At the end of our graduation, just before that, they called the assembly, and they said, we're going to name some names. And mine was the second name, and I thought, oh my God, now what? Not only did you draft me, what have I got into now? And so there's 5 of us are standing up there, and we're looking around, and they said, you 5 privates are OJT. Well, we didn't know what that meant. Well, we scored high enough in whatever our field was. Mine was mechanics. I was a hot rodder, and I was, so you
had cars. You were, you're a car man.
Yeah, so,
so did that mean you got to choose your job?
No, they just assigned me at Camp Roberts for the whole summer from July 8th through October 15th. And when I walked in, and as is in most, this was a reserve base, open in the summer only, okay? And usually they had civilians that ran the motor pool
Uh-huh.
using
Right.
people like me.
Right.
So my buddy and I, we were sitting down there, and all I would do, I walked in, he looked at my orders, and he said, you see that list of those work orders over there? I said, yeah. He says, your bay is number 6. You pick a work order and you go to work.
Wow.
I said, fine.
Wow.
And so I started tearing a Jeep apart the first day, and that's what I did. Whole time I was in the service, and then we talk when I got shipped out there.
And okay, for those that don't know, because you've explained it to me, but where's U.S.A?
U.S.A is in the Marshall Islands.
And for people to know, that's in the Pacific.
That's in the Pacific, South Pacific.
Okay.
It's 2,500 miles from Hawaii. I never was on a plane till I got on a C-97, which is a big Globemaster, the top speed of 200 miles an hour.
So it's
12 and a half hours from Travis to Hickam, 12 and a half hours from Hickam to U.S.A.
Wow.
And you just,
Yeah, it's like a
no
bus,
deadening,
like a big old bus.
Yeah, and it just,
Your ears are just like worn out by the time you get there.
Well, the noise is, it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
Really army blankets on,
Right.
And then we hit a storm that was just threw
really?
that plane around like it was.
Oh.
I thought that was normal. I mean, I never had a plane flight before, so what did I know?
Right.
And I discovered from the guys that were returning from the Atomic Energy Commission base, which was another part of the atoll from where the military was.
Mm-hmm.
It's still part of the same atoll. That they were scared to death. They'd never seen anything like it. The plane was just thrown around. That C-97's a big plane.
No. Wow.
And it was just thrown around.
Wow.
And so we had the island was 2.5 square miles. Anyway, that part of the atoll was 2 square miles. 5 square miles. The barracks, when I was a young man and I came back playing with my kids in baseball, and I could stand in the atoll part of the which is the center of that atoll. Ocean on the outside and the atoll's on the inside, water, okay? I could stand in the water there and two-hop it into the ocean. That's where our barracks were. That's how wide it was.
Whoa.
It was very, very narrow.
Wow.
It was mostly airstrip for B-52s.
Oh, big airstrip.
Yeah,
You had, like,
7,700 square feet. You remember the
Army
airplane?
Air Corps.
Yeah.
Army Air Corps.
You remember this was Air Force.
This is after they separated
Yeah.
Air Corps to
Yeah.
Air Force. Okay.
That plane that crashed at Asiana, okay? Those planes, the C-97s had to land within 2 plane lengths.
Whoa.
And when they
Really?
took off, the motor pool was right beside the airport. I have seen planes take off that there wasn't 6 feet between, because they were deactivating the island when I opted to stay so that I could get out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, rather than come home and know where I was going to go.
Right.
So they would leave the island 6 feet, and have to just keep pulling and pulling and pulling until they finally pulled up. There was no forgiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, you landed and you took off in the water.
Boy.
That
means they had to fly low and long and then just gain their altitude slowly.
Well, they had speed bumps in the air on the airstrip. I've seen the
did they? To help them get air?
I've seen them go over the first speed bump. It was right across from where my bay was. And the tires would go, and they'd still be on the ground. The second speed bump was probably from here to that stop sign. I don't know how far
So let's say 50 feet.
Yeah, okay.
Or so.
Probably 100 feet.
100 feet?
That was before the end of the island.
Oh,
And
whoa.
then they'd come up and maybe be like this, maybe like this, and they'd take off. And,
Wow.
and
Because they were heavy.
Yeah, they were loaded to the gills, and they had, because they were deactivating. So
Right,
they were
they're hauling
putting
everything out.
on there, okay, and,
Yeah.
and loaded with guys leaving.
Oh, wow.
Okay. They had a motor pool of 50 vehicles, and it had less than 2 miles of pavement. I always knew.
Wow.
That, I always knew that there was, when I got out of the service, I discovered that I was one. The whole time I was in the service, they drafted me, I was one of an excess of 10,000 in my MOS.
Really?
So they never needed me.
Wow.
We were out there.
But you were safe in a strange way. Right in the middle of the Pacific.
We played war games. We had carbines.
So it was like training area?
With no weapons.
Uh-huh.
With no bullets, I mean.
All right.
There weren't any bullets on the island for these. They were rusty boards. So when we played war, I'd just go hide somewhere.
Yeah.
And I
you
just
got to
stay
do
there
something on an island, right?
Ah, God, there wasn't, when you had been there 1 week, you'd done everything you were ever going to do on that island.
Yeah. Oh, you'll love the book Charlie Horse then, because he did 1 year of every day he journaled. He was a medevac pilot, so he was in the DMZ zone up in the hottest 6 miles of Vietnam.
Yeah.
But like you, only he found things to do that kept his mind and his team, healthy, positive. But like you say, if you're on a freaking island in 1 week, you've done everything. You've got to be creative.
You had one. You had to have a security clearance, low level, because of and 2, you had the psychiatric test.
Mm-hmm.
And the time I was there, 4 or 5 guys were shipped out to Hickam. They just ended up sitting on their barracks, on their bed.
Kind of
go
like
in and I
cabin
said,
fever.
What happened to Kevin? I haven't seen him.
Uh-huh.
They said, well, they just found him sitting in there on his bunk, just not doing anything. And the isolation would just get the guys.
Yeah.
We had mail calls only. The mail calls might be 2-3 weeks apart.
Really?
And there'd be maybe 7 within 10 days, and you wouldn't hear anything for another 3 weeks.
My goodness.
Okay.
So when did you hear that did your wife write you and let you? She never let you know she was pregnant while you were there?
Well, yeah, but I never, but I was out there. I was actually to the AEC island because that's where they docked all of our supplies. They could come in there. They couldn't where the Army Air Force was. Okay?
Right.
So I was over there with a gas truck loading up, and the gas truck caught on fire. And I put it out. Yeah, it was funny. Anyway, I'm waiting there, and I'm waiting in line, and they would take one, like a deuce and a half. This was like a small gas tanker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Onto a LSD, just big enough to button it in, and they'd take 30 minutes to run us over to where I bunked, where our barracks was. I got back there 6:30 at night, and the staff sergeant that was in charge of our barracks, okay, he said, "Oh, by the way, Saunders, you got a telegram." In those days, you still got telegrams,
Yeah.
And it was my father saying that I had a baby boy, and the mother was. And I chewed that sucker out. I mean, I didn't care that. He had rank, I didn't. I'm a specialist. Specialists were actually, privates could tell specialists what to do. Specialists were nothing. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't care because I did my job.
Right.
Nobody ever messed with me, and if I messed with other things, my motor pool sergeant or my motor pool officer saved my butt.
They'd cover you.
I was good.
Yeah.
Because I did what I was supposed to do.
Right. But what? So you were upset and...
I was upset because I said he came at like 10 in the morning. Now,
and you
he
didn't
could have
know?
let me know, and I could have come back and I could have sent something. But no, I had to wait till the next day to send a telegram back to say...
Oh, congratulations, I love you, and, wow.
I just chewed his he's going.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it was just,
Yeah, well,
you know, I'm a drafty. You can't mess with me. You can't do anything. You've already done everything you can do to me. Except kill me. That's the only thing you can do. You've already, you know, I mean.
That's the difference between men and real men. Those who face their death, there's something different about them. And, you know, there you were, you know, stuck on an island. And, yeah, so, you know, hey, you blew off some steam. And
oh, yeah, well.
So then you sent us a telegram. And
yeah.
Did you ever get a picture? Or
something? Yeah, my wife sent pictures. You know, they come.
And was daughter or son?
No, son.
A son?
I had 2 sons.
You had 2 sons?
My family has a lot of boys. Very few boys.
My dad had to go 4 girls, 3 miscarriages, and finally got a boy. And I was, number 6.
Oh, we had, you know, my father had 2 boys. His brother had 3 girls and a boy.
Any of them serve?
No, I was the first one to serve
in your family?
Because I got drafted. Otherwise, it would have been.
Yeah. Well,
my brother, he joined after I got drafted. He was 4 years younger than me. He joined it. They had this 6-month thing.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
like a reserve.
I forget what it was. He did 7.5 years reserves and 6 months active duty.
Right.
Says, I ain't going to do what he did.
That's the reserve thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
right.
You know.
What was that, Army also?
Oh yeah.
So you're both an Army family.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your service.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank you
didn't
very
do
much
service except that we had a lot of, you know, I